I know a lot of people in the gun community like to think that the Trump administration is gun friendly, but today I want to talk about another example of how that's just not the case. Hey everybody, Yankee here. I don't know how many of you have been following the Peterson case in the Fifth Circuit regarding suppressors. This is where a gentleman had an unregistered suppressor, and the case revolves around whether suppressors can even be regulated by the government, either because they're protected by the Second Amendment and the NFA should be declared unconstitutional because the items on there are protected, or are they even arms at all, a suppressor? And the reason that came up is because the Fifth Circuit originally said that they're not arms, which would mean they're not protected by the Second Amendment. Now, unfortunately for them, that also meant if they're not arms, well, then they can't really be on the NFA, because the whole point of that is since they are arms and they're exceptionally dangerous, they can be regulated by the government. If they're not arms, well, that wouldn't be true. Now, they'd have to go to other means to actually ban them if they wanted to, and that would be a lot harder since they weren't arms. They wouldn't be able to use the same little loopholes they use now. So they vacated that decision pretty quickly, because when they said that, oh, they're not arms, and people were like, great, well, then they can't be regulated under the NFA. And they went, well, wait, maybe they are arms. So let's rehear this and let's redecide. So that's kind of where we ended up with in the Fifth Circuit. First they weren't arms, then they were arms again. They're going to decide whether the NFA is constitutional, etc. Well, right now is when it would really be great if the Trump administration was actually pro-gun, because Pam Bondi and the DOJ could stand down and not defend the NFA, not defend suppressors being regulated. But they're not, because this is just another wake-up call for those of you out there that think Trump cares about your gun rights or his minions care about your gun rights, because they don't. Because they've decided that they are fully defending suppressors being regulated under the NFA. And not only are they defending it, they're using the same arguments that California uses and other far leftists use to say they should be regulated. Their actual argument from Pam Bondi is that they are specially adaptable to criminal use, meaning that they can be used by criminals to commit crimes. They would very easily be used by criminals to commit crimes. Well, you know what else can be easily used by criminals to commit crimes? Well, guns, knives, cars. All kinds of things are specifically adaptable to criminal use. So I don't understand that argument. Where do you stop with that argument? But like I was saying, Bondi doesn't have to do this. They could go into court and say, we agree with the people on the other side. These should not be regulated under the NFA. The NFA should not be a thing. But they're not. They're defending it. Just like recently when we had a chance to get suppressors and other things off the NFA. Republicans did nothing to help that. They played a little game like, we'll just lower the tax stamp to 0, but you'll still have to go through all the same hoops. You know, that way the big money interests that make the suppressors can continue to charge outrageous fees for them. The billionaires and people that run our country who don't want you having easy access to arms of any type keep their things in place. They keep things regulated. So they could do that. They could step back and say, we agree with the other side, but they're not. Like I said, they're using the same arguments every left of center administration has used and every far left person uses when it comes to suppressors. They're too easy to use in a crime, even though that's garbage. How often are you seeing suppressors used in crimes? You know, what are they going to do? Use them in drive-bys? I mean, that could be one thing I guess they could use them for. But drive-bys aren't something that it would matter if there's a suppressor or not. It's not like they catch these guys all the time or anything like that, and it's usually gang on gang. So they could use one, but I don't know why they would, because it would kind of counter what they're trying to do. They're trying to create fear in the other group, the rival gangs. They want you to hear the gunshots. They want you to know you're being taken out. So it doesn't really make a lot of sense. It's hard to really craft a scenario where suppressors would be used a lot. And a lot of the ideas people have about suppressors are wrong anyway. They don't make guns silent. You'd still hear it. Nobody is behind a curtain with a suppressor taking someone out on stage and no one knows what happened. It's just not the way they work. But beside the point, like I said, this is a wake-up call for all the people who think the Trump administration is pro-gun. right here. They could just be letting this go. But no, they are defending the NFA. They are defending suppressors continuing to be regulated. They're using leftist talking points to do so. So they're telling you one thing to your face and doing another thing behind your back. They're saying they believe one thing, but all their policies are something different. Trump says he's pro-gun, but he's saying take due process away. Take their guns first, give them due process later. He says he's pro-gun, he's taking away things like bump stocks. Says he's pro-gun, he's doing nothing to get rid of things like the NFA or pass any pro-gun legislation. So wake up. No politician is on our side. They're all owned lock, stock, and barrel by the billionaires, and some of them even are billionaires. They are not going to do anything to help us when it comes to this. We have to fight. We have to win in the courts, and even that won't be enough when the courts themselves rule incorrectly or rule properly, but then don't enforce it like the Supreme Court's been doing. It's going to be up to us to take our rights back, which is why I've been saying it's so important that we become inclusive and we grow our numbers and stop being such a selective club. Because if we keep our numbers low, when those same politicians you think are on your side take your rights away, no one else is going to care. Because we've spent decades telling them we don't want them in our group, we don't like them in our group, we don't agree with other things they do, therefore they're not Americans. So they're going to see, hey, this little group of assholes lost their rights, and everybody else is going to be like, we don't care.